de nuestro país. Vengan, escuchen todas las historias, historias de amor, love, aventuras, adventures, and all the bad things and good things that happen to the people of our place. Buenos dias. Hello, everybody. I would introduce myself, but everybody knows who I am. So, but I'm Michael Rael. And this is Voces de Nuestro País. Something that we put together because we need to know our history of our area. And today we're very fortunate, this is our third one, fortunate that we have Louise Gallegos and Mr. David Cisneros. Louise is here reluctantly. Didn't even send her sisters out of town so they wouldn't come and harass her to do this. Anyway, want to remind everybody that on January 24th we have open mic. So people want to come and tell a story that that they want to share with the world. You don't want to be here for an hour, 2 hours. Please come by, and then 2 to 4 here at the library. But today we're going to start off with. Louise has been on the council off and on 20 years.
Yes, sir.
And one of the stories I like about her, when I don't know if she still does this or not, but people would go up and say, Louise, you know what you guys ought to do is this and this and this. And she'd go, yeah, it's a good idea. Why don't you take it over and, we'll help you. That's a way it works, right? And so to me, she's one of our treasures. And to me, one of the super treasures of the area is Mr. David Cisneros. He fixes anything that breaks. I got a couple of stories about that. Some friends up in El Rito, their refrigerator broke. And they called in somebody else, and the guy came up and he says, yeah, I can fix it, $600. They called David. David went up there and fixed it. And the guy says, how much? $60. So the guy gives him a $100 bill, and Dave says, I don't get change. And the guy says, I didn't expect any. And then this next story I witnessed myself. A friend of mine bought a refrigerator from David. And David said, we're going to take it. No, David says, I'll take it for you. So he backs up the truck over there. There's a little bit of snow, mud, and we're going to try and help him unload the truck. He said, get the hell out of the way. You guys don't know what you're doing. Get out. And he did it himself at 80 years old. That's an amazing person.
Yeah.
That's David. So without further ado, I've talked enough, and I think we'll start with the ladies first. Louise,
yes,
talk a little bit and make sure that you're yelling at somebody so that they hear you.
Okay. My name's Louise Gallegos. I am currently a village council for the village of Questa, councilor. I am vice president of Taos Feeds Taos. I am, the list goes on and on. But I'm the fourth of 9 children. My mom and dad were Adonario and Petronila Gallegos. They were both born in Cerro and then moved over to Questa after they started having children. And he got work at the Molycorp mine back then. And so my dad was always involved in one thing or another growing up. He was with the union, and he was the treasurer, I believe, and he also was with the Acequias. So I am the treasurer for my Acequia Association here in Questa Citizens Ditch Association. I guess because my dad was involved in so many things, he enjoyed politics. He really loved politics. So when there was someone running for office that he really liked, he would support them 100%, and he also had us taking us to election day and handing out all the little cards and stuff for the people he was supporting. So I guess that's where a little bit of the background comes in for the things that I do. I was married for 20 years and sat around the table with family and friends and criticized one thing or another and how the village should run, and nobody ever did anything. And then I became divorced in the year 2000, and I started going to village council meetings, and I'm looking up there and I'm thinking, there's 5 men making decisions for our village. Where's the woman's voice? And so I decided to run for village council. There was a seat that was going to be up. My brother Donald, he had been appointed to that seat. So his seat was up, and I thought, I'm going to run. So I talked to him and I said, I'm going to run for village council. He says, you think you're ready for that? And I said, well, you're running for district attorney. Do you think you're ready for that? I said, I don't know if I'm ready or not. I said, but I think I'd like to run. So yeah, he supported me 100%. Of course, all my brothers and sisters did, mom and dad, and started campaigning. And before I knew it, I became the first elected woman to sit on the village council for the village of Questa. And I won by 52 votes. I could not believe that I outvoted all the men that were running. So that was quite an accomplishment. I was still kind of scared to be out in the public because I was a homebody. I never really went much of anywhere. So it was a big step for me. But Manuel Romero was very instrumental in encouraging me to run. He was the mayor at the time, and I talked to him in different places I saw him, and he encouraged me, and I guess through that I did, and I'm still here. I ran for 3 consecutive terms, so I was there 12 years, and then I decided at the time that the church fell down, and I needed to concentrate more on the restoration of the church, so I stayed out for 6 years. Then in 2018, I went back and ran for office again. And I was not going to run in 22, and then I ran in 22, and here I'm still here. So my term, I think I have 2 years left on my term. And right now I'm saying I'm not going to run, but who knows what's going to happen in 2 years. I would like to encourage the youth, especially the women, to get involved more. It is important that we have a voice and that we do encourage others to get involved. Through the Village of Questa, I also do I support the Veterans Healing Field of Honor every May. I kind of spearhead that along with a core group of volunteers that are very helpful. My sisters, I drag them into everything I do. So
except for this today.
I told them, no, you guys can't be there.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that started? That's become such an important tradition in Questa.
The Veteran Healing Field?
Yeah, the healing field.
Back when the 11/15 was going, I can't remember the exact year offhand, but they were being deployed to Iraq. Was the early 2000s, I know that. And so the mayor and administrator at that time, Mayor Charlie Gonzalez and Administrator Brent Jaramillo, they were at a conference in Kansas or somewhere, and there was a gentleman talking. It was 9/11 actually happened, like a couple years before, 2-3 years before the 9/11 happened. So they were showing these fields of flags that they put up in honor or to honor those who lost their lives in the 9/11 attack. And so they thought, let's do something like that for our National Guard 1115 Transportation Unit. So they came up with the idea of 1,000 flags. I don't know why, but they decided on 1,000. And the village got together, all the employees, and they put up the field, and our 1115th went. They came back, and it was a very ceremonial time at that time. And then every year we try and remember all the veterans, so it has been a tradition that it was in jeopardy of being stopped at one point. And I thought, we can't let it die.
No.
So myself and a few other volunteers got together, and we carried the tradition on. And it's the Village of Questa that is supporting it.
It's an amazing thing. It really is. You drive by and every year I see it. Every day I see it when it's up, and every day is still amazing. It's something else.
And as you walk in the field, sometimes you're checking the flags after they all go up, and you'll see a veteran out there walking the field, and they are very thankful. People driving by in their motorcycles or cars, or just, people not from here, they will stop you and they will say thank you for doing this. And we do it because we love our veterans. My dad was a World War II Marine, 4th Division. His company was, or platoon, I'm not sure the proper word, they were the ones behind the flag raisers. So they were there on the beach as they saw the flag go up. That's all he ever talked. That was the only thing he really talked about. He didn't talk about much of anything else concerning the war. Then my brother Ronnie decided to become a Marine. So he actually retired after 28 years in the military service. He started out 6 years as a Marine, and then he became Marine Reserve, Army Reserve, National Guard. So he's had a full career, but he retired after 28 years. And then my younger brother Johnny joined the Army out of high school. He served his 3 years and came home. And then Joey decided to join the National Guard. No, he did join the Navy, but he had a fear of heights. So he couldn't continue in the Navy, but he joined the Army. And he served 3 or 4 years in that. And then he stayed with the National Guard, and he actually passed away in Iraq in 2009. It was not in combat, but it was a heart attack. He was 39 years old, and he was the gunner. And I think he was under a lot of stress. And so we brought him home and buried him in very dignified service. And so I guess we have become a family of civil servants.
Yes.
My brother Donald is district attorney, was for 20 years. He retired, and he's still a lawyer, so he still does, and he's contracting with the DA's office right now. So he's keeping busy in his retirement. Donna was a school bus driver. She retired from that. My sister Rosie takes care of the senior citizens and Meals on Wheels. And then Sherry is a retired speech therapist with the schools, and Connie works with the Northern College there in Espanola. So, and like I said, I drag them with me in everything that I do. I was a fundraiser with CAV in the early 2000s. I led some of their fundraising campaigns as well. Very active in the church. I think my religion is very important to me. My mom instilled that in me, and you just do whatever you can. With the restoration of St. Anthony's, I also helped organize a lot of the fundraisers along with the volunteers, because anything I do not do alone. I do not take the credit. It is the group of people around me. And if you start saying names, you're going to leave somebody out, so everybody knows who they are. That's always with me. And I am very appreciative of them and their willingness to help in whatever activity I decide to get involved with next. So, is that enough?
Very good. That was nice.
I could go on, but
Yeah, well, David.
I don't want to take up 2
David
hours.
is going. When am I going to get a chance? This is why I asked you. You say, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I don't know anything about. But yet, you came in here without even going, you just spoke. And you told us 3 stories about, just little snippets about your brothers, your sisters, and how your life was. You touched very little on your dad, but like you said, that's all he talked about. Didn't want to talk about anything else. Yeah. So anyway, if you think of something, we'll stop David later. But now, I introduced him earlier, but retired Navy,
the retired Navy. My name is Jose David Cisneros. I go by David. The VA says I have to go by Jose. Sometimes I get a little confused, but I go by David. I was born January 22nd, 1937. My father was Adonicio Cisneros. My mother was Rufina Martinez. I was born in Cerro, New Mexico here. My mother passed away when I was 4 years old, so my grandmother took us into Colorado, my family, my sister and my three brothers, myself. We lived with my grandmother for a while. My father bought us a house in Costilla. We moved to Costilla. My sister, the oldest one, they tried to take care of our four brothers. And then my dad moved us to Superior, Wyoming. Superior, Wyoming was a coal town, a coal mining town. They had 5 coal mines going 24/7. A lot of coal being mined in those years. And then my sister met her future husband there in Superior, Wyoming. She got married, and my two older brothers came back to New Mexico. Myself, and my younger brother Joe stayed in Superior, Wyoming with my sister. She was at the same time married and taking care of us too. I was 17 years old, and my sister had started to have a family. So I decided, well, I don't want to be a burden to my sister. The Navy looked pretty good, so I joined the Navy. I was 17 years old when I joined the Navy. I was shipped to Pearl Harbor. I went aboard a cargo ship. I learned how to operate booms, but that was in the deck force. My interest was not on the deck force. My interest was weapons. So I started studying for weapons. When it came time for me to take a test to go up for weapons, nobody thought that I would ever pass that test because I had never worked on weapons. I was just taking everything out of the book. I took my test and I passed my test. So
Right.
I was then a third-class gunner's mate, and they could no longer keep me on the deck force. And from there, they shipped me aboard a destroyer. In Pearl Harbor, I went aboard a destroyer that had more weapons, that I could learn more about the weapons and everything. I went aboard several destroyers. I went aboard cargo ships, tankers, destroyed tenders. On one of the destroyers that I was on, they were asking for Navy divers, so I decided to apply to go to a second-class diving school. I went to second-class diving school in Pearl Harbor, submarine base at Pearl Harbor. I never made a regular dive because right after I finished my training, I got orders to report to Dahlgren, Virginia. Dahlgren, Virginia was a naval weapons lab. And being so I was a gunner's mate, they were trying to teach me more about some of the weapons that were being built there. And sometimes I had spare time, so the captain said, well, you're not doing too much over here, so why don't you go help him at the commissary store? So I said, well, whatever you say, Captain. And I went to work at the commissary store. I was in charge of the warehouse, supplying whatever we needed. The commissary store was a branch of the Norfolk, Virginia commissary store. We were just a branch. All the orders had to go to Norfolk, Virginia. After my tour in Norfolk, Virginia, I was assigned to the USS Forrestal, the first super carrier ever built. The Forrestal had a good variety of weapons, that they didn't care much if the weapons worked because their armament was the planes that they had. So when I went aboard, there was only 2, we had 4 weapons, 2 on each side, the port side and the starboard side. There was only 2 of them working. My division officer was a warrant officer. Him and I, we worked together. We got all our 4 weapons going the way they were supposed to be going. We had a firing exercise. We shot the target down 90% of the time. That was the first time a super carrier ever won a battle efficiency E. We had a battle efficiency. We had a big E, and the super and the carrier was the first carrier to ever win a battle efficiency E. While I was aboard the carrier, I was talking to one of my division officers because I had 2. He says, you know, they're asking for volunteers to go to Vietnam. Maybe you should, with your knowledge of weapons, maybe you should apply to go to Vietnam. You should volunteer to go to Vietnam. So I volunteered to go to Vietnam. When I got my orders to go to Vietnam, my division officer says, the captain wants to see you. And I said, what did I do? What's wrong that the captain would want bother to see me? I went up to the bridge and I says, Captain, I reported to the captain. The captain says, you've been a good sailor. Tomorrow I'm going to give you a treat. I'm going to fly you off the carrier. He says, I want you here at 8 o'clock. So I showed up at 8 o'clock with my sea bag. They put me on the cot. It wasn't a jet, it was a prop job. They put me on the cot, it was called a cot. They flew me to Puerto Rico. From Puerto Rico, they flew me to Jacksonville, Florida. From Florida, they flew me to San Diego to start my training, 6 weeks training for Vietnam.
Wow.
And there, for taking our training, I could see that some of the young sailors there, 17, 18 years old, had no idea where they were going. They acted like they were going to a party. We get to Vietnam, bullets started flying all over. They didn't know what to do. They started crying. I was the senior weapons specialist there for the 3 divisions. We had 3 divisions gunboats, airboats. They would come crying to me because I was senior weapons. They couldn't go to the captain, I guess, the boat captains. They come crying. They put tremendous pressure on me. And I couldn't ship them out. I didn't have the authority to ship nobody out. All I could say was keep your weapons firing and you'll be safe. And we kept our weapons firing as best as we could. The big mistake that was made that they converted the 30 caliber machine guns to a NATO weapon, a NATO bullet. They would jam a lot with that NATO bullet, so we had to carry extra barrels, take a barrel, throw it overboard, and put a new barrel in it. One time we had a 50 caliber, hot 50 caliber. I have no idea what the lieutenant was doing next to the 50 caliber. When I got there, I went to push him away from the gun, from the 50 caliber machine gun. The 50 caliber machine gun blew up, blew the lieutenant's leg off. It blew me off the boat. It's a good thing some of my shipmates seen that I blew off the boat. They picked me up and they brought me aboard again. We got the lieutenant secured as best as we could. We called in for a helicopter to pick him up and medevac. At that time, some of my shipmates noticed that I was bleeding from both of my ears. They had the explosion had busted both of my eardrums. But I was okay, and I could still hear enough that I was okay. Then when I came back from Vietnam, I was thinking of some of my friends, some of the young sailors that went to Vietnam that didn't come back. I had a hard time sleeping. I was having nightmares. My wife suggested that it would be better if I would pray to my guardian angel and Saint Michael the Archangel. So I started doing that, and my nightmares went away. And now I am at peace with myself. When I came back from Vietnam, I was stationed aboard a destroyer. This destroyer was either sold to the Turkish Navy or given to the Turkish Navy. And because of my knowledge of weapon, I was selected to stay aboard the destroyer. So I served under the jurisdiction of the United States Navy. I served 6 months with the Turkish Navy as an instructor under weapons, the weapons that the ship had. After that, I went aboard a light cruiser. The light cruiser was the USS Providence, CLG-6. The U.S. had missiles. I never worked on missiles before, but I learned how to work on missiles. After my tour on the USS Providence, I was assigned shore duty back to the Naval Training Center in San Diego to train recruits. That was my last duty station. When I was getting ready to retire, I decided, well, if I'm going to retire, I better figure out what I'm going to do in the civilian life. So I went to the library and I got a book, what were the most important jobs in the outside world. They had diesel mechanic #1, refrigeration and appliance repair #2. So I decided to go. I went to 2 different schools in San Diego to learn refrigeration and appliance repair. When I finished my school, the last school there in San Diego, the instructor said to me, David, don't go look for a job. Starting Monday, you're going to be my assistant. So I stayed there 18 months at the same time learning and getting paid for learning, so, which was good for me. When my aunt passed away here in Cisneros, I came to her funeral and I got to talking to people. They said, you should come over here, open up a business. There's nobody here doing this kind of work. I went back to San Diego and I told my instructor I was going to leave. He was a little leery about letting me go, but he found this. I said, look, I'm going to go open up a business. He said, good for you. But you don't know it all. You're going to sometimes get in trouble. You call me at night and I will tell you what to do. And he did that for me. He was a good instructor. He took good care of me. So that was the reason I was able to learn more, because of my instructor.
That's good.
And that's about it. Oh, I forgot one thing. One thing that I did happen to me was, because of my knowledge of weapons, they used to transfer me from one destroyer to another destroyer out at sea.
Oh,
It was called a boatswain share. The Navy doesn't call them ropes, they call them lines. So they would throw one small line across the other destroyer, then they'd pull on that small line till the line got bigger enough, and then they would put me on a chair like this with a pulley on top of it, and they would pull me across the sea to the other destroyer so I could help them with their weapons, or they were having a firing exercise. It was up to me to judge the firing exercise that they were having, to see whether they passed the firing exercise or to see whether they failed the firing exercise. They did that about 5 times, which I used to tell my buddies, my shipmates, don't let me hit the ocean, guys. And that's about it. My Navy career was a good career. I'm happy I was able to do what I did, and I'm at peace with myself now.
good.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of in the 20 years, you've mentioned some of the places you went.
Well,
You went to a lot of different places.
I worked at the aircraft carrier. I went to the Mediterranean. I went to Spain, Italy, France, Turkey, Greece. The South Pacific, the Pacific, I went to, of course, Hawaii. I was stationed there twice. I went to the Philippines, visit the Marshall Islands, Kwajalein, Anahuita, Korea, the Philippines, Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong. So I was able to see most. I never made it to the Atlantic Ocean, so I never made it to Germany or England. I wish I would have been there, but I never went there. In Vietnam, when I came back from Vietnam, I didn't know that I had been awarded the two medals that I'm most proud of is the Vietnam Service Medal with 5 Bronze Stars and the Navy Commendation Medal with a Combat V. Those are the 2 medals that I'm most proud of. I got 9 medals, but the 2 medals that I talked is the Vietnam Service Medal with I challenge anybody to tell me they came out of Vietnam with 5 bronze, Vietnam Service Medal with 5 bronze
Good job,
stars.
too.
And of course the Navy Commendation Medal with the Combat V. So that's it. Wow. Thank you.
That's great.
Now you know why I wanted him here. This is a living treasure.
Definitely.
We have him at the Rancho Blanco's, the other treasure. He's having a birthday party today.
Right.
But this is why it's so important to have these things happen. So if you have any questions for either one of them, Louise says she has all the answers.
No, I don't.
And also,
I just wanted to say I'm very familiar with his naval routine because my ex was in the Navy and he was a diesel mechanic on a destroyer. He went to the Philippines and he was in charge of the captain's gig in the Emerald's barge. And when he came back, he was a diesel mechanic and he was also with the Coastal River Division 11, the river rats, the boats that were in Vietnam. Yeah, so I'm very familiar with
I have no idea what the hell you said.
David does.
Yeah. Mr. Long?
I was wondering, either Louise or David, if you had any memories that are strong for you growing up here in this area, whether it be the school, your friends, time in the montes, hunting, fishing, out at the river, anything like that that you might be able to share with us.
I left Cerro when I was 4 years old. My mother passed away when I was 4 years old, so my father moved us out of Cerro, so I have no memories of really Cerro.
I have a lot.
Oh, good.
Well, growing up, my dad always planted a garden. So of course the kids had to take care of the plants, go pull the weeds, and I remember putting the coffee cans over the plants so the hail didn't beat them up. We, and little things like that. We were picking rocks, and my dad was an avid outdoorsman. He was not a hunter growing up, but fisherman. He took us fishing all the time. We'd go to the Rio Grande. That was our haven. He'd say, "I'm going fishing." Whoosh, all the kids jump in the back of the car just to go up and down all the trails. So we knew all the trails over in Cerro when before anybody really discovered them. We'd stop at my grandmother's, who is David's mother-in-law. We'd stop at my grandma's, and she would talk to us. And I asked her one time, "Grandma, do you know English? Can you talk in English?" "No, mijita, no sabes nada en inglés. Háblame en español." Okay. She knew, but yeah, out of respect, she wanted us to talk to her in Spanish. And I was a tomboy. I preferred hanging around with my brothers. There's 3 older sisters, and then me, 2 brothers, a sister, and then 2 brothers. So Donald and Ronnie were the 2 I always hung out with. They were closer in age, and I preferred playing marbles and playing baseball and whatever they were doing than to be with the sisters inside. So, and my dad coached Little League, so I would go with him to the baseball games over in Cerro. He was a coach for Little League, and we were always outside. We'd play till dark. There was a swamp to the west of my house, 2 fields across, and in the wintertime, ice. We'd be out there sledding and freezing to death. We didn't have gloves, but we got some old socks and put them on our hands, and we'd be sledding all day until it got dark, and then we had to go in and warm up. My mom was really good at taking care of us and making sure we ate well. She tried to teach us how to can, and when you're a teenager, you don't want to know those things. We grew our own vegetables. My dad planted fruit trees, so we have the fruit and the vegetables, and she did all the canning, and we'd help little things, but like I said, you're a teenager and you really don't want to learn those things. But now it's like I regret not learning them, but I was a tomboy, so. And I lived by the elementary school, the La Cienega school that got torn down this last year. It was very sad to see it going away, because we would go up there and play. It's a quarter mile from my house to the school, so we'd go up there and play all summer long on the equipment and, just take care of things.
Like father, like daughter?
Pretty much.
Can you tell us, you said that your faith is a very important part of your life. Can you tell us a little bit about how that looked in your childhood and some memories that you have about it, how it's the same as now and how it's different?
My dad did not take us to, he did not take us to church. He had gone to school when he was only Spanish speaking. He did not know English. And there was a school up in Costilla. It was the nuns that ran it, and they were trying to force him to talk English. So he was disciplined a lot because he only knew Spanish. And so he didn't want to teach us the Spanish language because of what he went through. So he had ill feelings towards the church because it was the nuns that were disciplining him. And he was mad at God for a really long time. So we were forbidden in going to Mass, but we'd sneak away with I can't always talk about the brothers and sisters, but I would always sneak away with the neighbors and go to Mass or go to catechism or, just kind of involved in. And then I saw the Song of Bernadette, and I thought, boy, that really touched my soul, and I wanted to become a nun, just like Bernadette, and I wanted to do all of that. And then as you grow up, you know, you go to school, and, you know, kids, you were still in and out, and finally my dad did allow us to receive our sacraments, and we all came into the church, so we started going to Mass a little more regular. My mom always, she didn't practice her religion, but she would teach us the faith quietly at home if we had questions, and she would always do that. And so after high school, and I got married, I through the church, the Catholic Church, and then I didn't always attend Mass, and then when I got my kids baptized and I started listening to our responsibilities as parents, teaching our children our faith, then I got a little more involved in it. And so one thing I do remember is that God tells us, I have no hands or feet except yours. So he asks us to do his work, and I try to do his work here on earth. I am by no means thinking I'm better than anybody else, and I am not a saint. I'm a sinner just like everybody else, but my faith is a very strong part of my life, of how I try to live it. In respecting others and treating them how you would want to be treated. That's how I live my life.
It's a good way.
Thank you.
Except when you don't bring your sisters. You
That's
know.
right. Except when I tell them you can't go.
Anyway, so unless anyone, yes.
I have another question. Louise, you mentioned that you were hopeful of having a woman's voice on the village council. Does anything come to mind over your years of experience how that happened?
I think because I felt in my marriage I did not have much of a voice, and now that I was on my own, and my son was 16 when I divorced, and there was a curfew ordinance that the village council was trying to pass. So I wanted to learn more about that curfew ordinance. So that's why I started going to the meetings. And I thought, you know what, this is a good idea. Kids don't have no business being out on the street. I understand they work in Red River. So they get home at 10, 11 o'clock, you know, work at Texas Reds. They're going to be out on the street. But if they go home, then there's nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to know more about it. And then I thought, you know what? For many years, we talked around the table criticizing, and it's like, it's time to put your money where your mouth is. If you have an opinion, go. And so I had nobody holding me back anymore, and I realized I did have a voice.
So I have a question for you, David.
That's another.
Yes, sir.
Have you finally retired?
You know, people don't let me retire. I wish I could retire.
I called his phone one day, and Loveda had the answer, and David has retired and is not doing any more work. Then I called David and says, that's Loveda saying that.
Yeah,
Well,
we need
I don't
you.
mind helping people out. It's, you know, if I can do it, why not do it? But there'll come a time when I'm not going to be able to do it anymore. And as long as I can do it, I'll continue to do it, but slower than before. It takes me longer to do a job now. I could do a job in 30 minutes. Now it takes me 3 hours. But I get it done.
That's what it's about. Any other questions? Comments? Well, Louise, David,
Really fast, I wanted to say that her dad and I are brother and sister.
Yeah.
I'm the baby of the family, so when they used to come and visit, it was usually on Sundays.
Yes.
And because I was close to the older girls' age, we would play a lot in the ditch and eat ochana and all that stuff in the ditch. Yeah, so yeah. We had a good time.
Yeah, we did.
On that note, David, do you want to share when you met this?
Loveda?
Yeah, when did Loveda come into your picture?
Well,
How many years have you
came
been
back
married?
after I left San Diego. I came back to Cisneros. My uncle had a store that he had already. He was no longer running the store. The building was empty, so I asked my uncle if I could move in my shop. I bought the shop and I bought a piece of land across the street so I could put a mobile home in. I put a mobile home, and Milton Cisneros is my first cousin. He's deceased now, but he's married to Irma. We were both real close. I would go visit Milton and Irma, and through Irma I met Loveda. And well, before I knew it, I was married.
Yeah.
I like the way she goes,
How many years have you been married, Tio?
I've been married over 40 years.
Wow, that's great.
We got married in 1980.
Ooh, perfect.
I came back to Cerro in 1978.
How long were you in the service? How long were you in your service, your term?
How long was I in the service? I was in the Navy for 21 and a half years. I get paid for 22.
Oh.
The Navy considers anything over 6 months as a year, so I had 21 and 7 months, so they're paying me for 22 years. But that's not enough either.
No, it's not. And I
But
realize.
no, it's okay. I'm well taken care of. The VA is not the best thing there is, but it's there to help you out the best they can.
That's true.
I realize that some of us veterans demand too much. We want the world. They can't give us the world, but they give us what they can. I have no complaints about the VA or the VA hospital. I had a heart doctor, Dr. Kesselman. He was considered the best heart doctor in New Mexico. He did a job on me. He did a quadruple bypass and a replaced valve on me all at once.
Wow.
According to him, I had heart disease caused by Agent Orange. So they could no longer deny me a disability for Agent Orange. So with that letter, they had to give me some kind of a disability for Agent Orange.
Good.
I don't know that I have Agent Orange, but that's what my doctor said.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother went to Vietnam and he came home with Agent Orange and he was a completely different person. He was a tall, thin man and he came back big and bloated and couldn't handle his alcohol. And then my father, he went to France and Italy. He was a paratrooper.
I'll expect to hear January 24th. So you can tell us about that.
David,
And I realized,
yep.
I realized I talked about my brothers and sisters, my mom and my dad. I did not talk about my children. I am a mother of 2 wonderful children, a son and a daughter. My son is Dean Maximiano, or Dean Max. A lot of people know him as Make, after his grandpa on his dad's side, because his name was Manomake, he's Maximiano. So we named him after the grandpa. And so my dad used to call him Manomake. My son, he used to call him Manomake, like the grandpa. So the name Make stuck. So some people know him as Make, some as Dean, some as Dean Max. And he's just my son. Then Carrie Lynn is my daughter. They're both doing really well. Carrie has a little girl. I have one granddaughter, 6-year-old. Her name is Isabella Rose. And so we have a lot of fun together.
Where are they?
Carrie lives in Peralta, New Mexico, with her and her granddaughter. My son is here in Questa. He lives here, and then he's a great electrician.
Yes, sir.
Luis, I'm going to put you on the spot. You said you grew up in the gorge and Wild Rivers.
Mm-hmm.
Who carved Gallegos into all the basalt rocks?
Probably my brothers. Probably my brothers. It wasn't me.
I didn't hear the answer.
It wasn't me, it was my brothers.
But they also planted an apple tree.
There's
Oh,
L,
yeah.
There's L, there's J, there's D, they're all Gallegos.
There's not an El Gallegos. There's a D. Donald and R. Ronnie.
L for Luis.
No.
Carved out in that tree.
So,
Memories of the way life used to be.
Definitely.
If you're willing to keep going, I have a couple more questions. After traveling so much and doing such intense, training and service and being under so much pressure, what was it like to come back to a community like, Cerro? And
Well, when I retired, I didn't come back to Settler right away. I bought a house in San Diego, California. And I went to the two different schools there to live. So, by the time I came back to Settler, I was pretty well settled already with my civilian life. I knew what I had to do. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what was important for me to do. Going to school, learning what I needed to do, and then staying 18 months as an assistant instructor helped me a lot, because I was at the same time getting paid, but at the same time I was learning what was going on. I was teaching younger guys what to do, and sometimes I could get my mind messed up. I would go to my instructor. I would say, my instructor was in his classroom there. He said, I'm not going to help you. You go figure it out yourself. That's the only way you're going to learn. If I tell you how to do it, you'll never learn. Go work on it till you figure out what needs to be done. And once you figure it out, you'll never forget. And he was right. By doing the work on hands, doing what you have to do, you'll never forget what you have to do.
Right.
That's the best experience that a person can, in my opinion, that's the best experience a person can have, is doing the job. You can learn a lot by reading a book, but you're not going to learn everything by reading a book.
That's true.
And David has told me a lot of stories of his career, and I get a kick out of one especially, and that's when he was sold. He tells me he was sold with the ship to the Turkey government.
You were sold.
That's a good story. I always laugh when you tell it.
Well, what do you mean when I went with the Turkish Navy?
Yeah.
Well, one of the stories the one that I've probably told you about was it was some kind of a Turkish holiday. I don't know what holiday it was, but when we came aboard the ship in the morning, they had a lamb there tied to a barracks to where we changed our clothes to our work. There was a lamb there, and I'm wondering, what are we going to do with this lamb? What's going on? About 8 o'clock in the morning, they hung the lamb to one of the barrels in the gun. They lifted up the barrel, they cut the throat, and they saved the blood. All the Turkish sailors that were there got a cup, passed the cup around drinking blood, and I had drank some blood with my grandfather when he killed a sheep or a goat here in his farming. So it was nothing new to me, and I drank some blood with them, and I think they really appreciate what I did. I think they say, well, this guy's with us here too, and they all went and they shook my hand, and they just appreciated what I did, that I drank some of the blood with them too. I don't know, I have no idea what kind of a holiday it was for them, but that's what they did. Maybe that's the one I told you.
Then you ate the lamb.
No, I didn't. I wish I could have ate the lamb, but I don't know what they do with the lamb. Right after that, we got underway, so they probably threw the lamb overboard. I don't know. One thing I did learn, Loretta, what's that thing that I used to like, that I got to liking in the Turkish Navy?
Can't remember.
It's
A food?
my
A
mind
certain
is,
food?
yeah, it's a food. It's like a potato. You don't know?
Oh, the eggplant? No,
Eggplant.
the eggplant.
They could fix eggplant so good. I acquired a taste for eggplant. and I still like eggplant, but I can't get Lovita to cook it for me.
Once in a while.
No, I just love the way the Turkish people fix that eggplant. It was something to enjoy. That was about the only food that I could eat that they fixed. 'Cause they would get fresh milk, throw it in tubs, and let it sit there till it just about sour. You know, I couldn't drink that milk, so if we were going out to sea, I would go to the commissary store and I would buy sardines, sausage, bread. We had onions aboard the ship, so I would go get an onion, slice it, and eat it with me. And aboard the ship, we could go to the commissary or the BX and eat whatever we wanted to. But at sea, it was a different story. So, but whenever I knew that they were fixing the eggplant, I made sure that I went down to the mess hall and ate some of that eggplant. And I still like it,
Yeah.
if I can get Lovita to fix it.
Lovita.
I know. For his birthday.
Yeah.
You mentioned being surprised about the food in Spain. Can
Oh,
you tell
it's-
about
well,
that
yeah,
a little bit?
we were going in, the Forrestal, the USS Forrestal was pulling into Spain. It was pulling into Naples was in Italy. That's one of the cities in Spain. My mind is not working too good today yet. But anyway, we were pulling into Spain, and I thought, well, boy, when I get off the ship, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ask for a bowl of beans with red chili and a tortilla. What a surprise! They had no idea what I was talking about.
Really?
Yeah, no, they don't have.
They had no idea. They gave me when I asked for the tortilla, they gave me like a sweet bread. It's like a sweet bread.
Like buñuelo?
To me, we used to eat a lot of arroz con pollo. I think that's the main food there in Spain. My mind is in the Pacific and not in the United.
How was New Zealand?
Huh?
How was New Zealand?
New Zealand? How was New
New
Zealand?
Zealand, you know, the people in Australia and New Zealand were probably the most courteous people I ever met in my life. They love the American people. They love the American Navy. Japan was getting ready to attack New Zealand and Australia. The Navy stopped them at there was the big battle called I can't remember the name of the battle, but the Navy stopped the Japanese fleet from going into Australia and New Zealand. So whenever the American Navy pulled into those ports, we went to Melbourne, Sydney, and you know, the people were just generous, real generous. They would take us to their homes, feed us any kind of liquor you wanted to. It was just wonderful. They treated us. They were the people that treated us the best.
Wow.
They were just wonderful, wonderful people with us. They just loved the Navy. But it was because the Navy actually stopped, the United States Navy stopped the Japanese from invading Australia and New Zealand.
Anything else anybody would like to ask? Comment?
I have two closing questions for each of you. One is, if you could say something to your younger self, you know, what might it be, knowing what you know now? And then what would you tell the youth of today, you know, in our community, based on your experience? You can choose either one of those, or
She's my niece, I'll let her go first.
Looking back, I would probably tell my younger self to believe in yourself more. I had very little self-confidence, and I think that accounted for some of the decisions I made early on. Trust in yourself. Believe in yourself. There's nothing you can't do if you put your mind to it. I wanted to join the Marine Corps, but I was afraid of leaving Questa. So I got married instead, had babies. I'll always regret that. I always wanted a career in the military. And so that's probably what I would tell. And I would tell especially the women, the girls, the young girls growing up, not to let, how can I say this without sounding too, do not let anybody take advantage of you or put you down to the point that you do not believe in yourself, but always believe in yourself and always think good of yourself. Because if somebody tells you something bad, turn it around into something good.
And always pat yourself on the back.
No. I guess.
Yeah. I would
But-
bring home an A and they want an A plus. When there's 5 pounds, all you need to do is 5 more. And so I learned to pat myself on the back.
Yeah. It was just always important to, school was important to me. I always loved school. I always wanted to do my best, and I always did. Even if I had to stay up studying till midnight, I did. Still get up and run to school in the morning. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Anyway, the city I was trying to mention in Spain was Barcelona. Barcelona, Spain. That was, well, I could speak to them. Their Spanish is a little bit different than mine. I speak the Castilian, the new Castilian Spanish. They speak the old Castilian Spanish.
Yeah.
Our Spanish is probably a language that's about to go under too. Pretty soon nobody's going to speak
That's
that.
true.
Our Spanglish.
Our Spanglish.
If you have any thoughts
But I would
about
tell the young
language-
generation that it's never too bad, okay? I mean, even though you think you're at the end of the rope, you're never at the end of the rope. Always find somebody to help you. You talk to somebody. I tell the younger generation, I tell the twin boys that they call me Papo, and not really their Papa, but they call me Papo. I counsel them and I tell them, no matter how bad you think the world is, it's not that bad. Come and talk to me. Talk to anybody. Talk to your dad, talk to your mom, talk to your grandpa, talk to your friend. If your friend is leading you the wrong way, come and talk to somebody that's leading you the right way. Because there's 2 roads. In my opinion, there's 2 roads. You have the crooked road and the straight road. It's easy to take the crooked road. Anybody can take the crooked road. But you have to fight to be on the straight road. And if you're on the straight road, you'll be all right. You'll accomplish something in your life. You can always say at the end of the road, well, I fought the fight, and the Lord is good to me. And that's the way I look at it. At the end of when my day comes, I know I have accomplished something, and everybody can accomplish something if they try. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
That's quite a good.
It's quite good.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you guys for coming in today. You can find this on, when will it be up on YouTube?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? So we can call her sisters tomorrow. Yeah, please visit Voces de Nuestro País. And if you know anybody that you think should come and tell stories, please let me know, or Claire, and we'll put it together.
And what's the date in January?
24th. 2 days after your birthday, 1 day after mine.
It'll
So-
be a birthday party.
There you go.
So thank you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for putting up with us.
Yeah.
You have listened to the stories. Vayan y digan a todos que vengan a escuchar las historias de nuestro país.
Perfect.